Dumelang, greetings. Hi everyone, my name is Dumiso. I am the founder of Success Capital Organization, a queer, feminist, youth-led, managed, serving grassroots organization operating in the outskirts of the capital city, Gaborone. My COVID-19 experience had been characterized by consistent doctor consultation room visits, trying to figure out how to best respond within the context of hard lockdowns, and at the time a 6-month and now year-long state of emergency. COVID-19 has illuminated inequalities. It has illuminated why Botswana is the second highest country in rape incidents per 100,000 citizens globally. And I think for us, it's a reckoning in the need to recognize the urgency needed to safeguard and strengthen bodily autonomy for young women, LGBTIQ, persons with disabilities, and many other vulnerable groups. And I think our work being anchored on dismantling and challenging privilege, power, and patriarchy has only strengthened the evidence base and ensured that we can influence better response and recovery measures. I must admit that burnout was a factor, and I found myself amidst trying to assist different individuals within our COVID-19 response measures. And I think this was really anchored in providing some level of dignity in the form of data connectivity for individuals to connect with their friends amidst physical distancing, food security, and also providing some form of alternative provisions for shelter. And I think what was critical for us was understanding that our stories are valid, our stories are important, and they're not always reflective in national statistics or whatever happens to be reported. And I think, having had many questions answered, particularly at a personal level, I think three things were quite notable. The first, in that care work obviously increased at a significant level, not just at home, but also within the context of community, where you have to extend yourself beyond the norm, extend yourself. And I think that is heavily anchored on my second, feminist principles. Having curated Feminist Agenda, which is a collation of different essays from young feminists who had future-oriented solutions recommended to the government on possible areas of inclusion and catering for different groups. And I think, just the last is understanding the power of care and compassion, particularly in solidarity, and being able to connect with individuals across the countries. The worst case that we had come across is an individual that had to endure 53 days of sexual abuse. And I think for us, that only just highlights the need for us to not only scale and strengthen advocacy efforts, but ensure that we can provide queer-friendly shelters, that we can provide queer-specific, comprehensive, universal health coverage, services, and care. And I think, more importantly, at an individual level, is in recognizing the power of rest, acknowledging that our bodies, our psyche are limited, and that we need to have a cup that is full in order to pour onto others. And so I part ways with three key things that I've found pertinent and important within the context of ensuring that we can advance gender beyond just binaries, beyond just empowerment, and anchored on intersectionality. The first is that we mustn't be distracted, in the words of Toni Morrison, speaking of racism, in being a distraction. So are different forms of phobias, so are different forms of ableist policies and linear neoliberal programming. And it's critical for us to recognize that these three things are important. The first is respect, Ubuntu, Setho, in home language, which is anchored in Pan-African ideals, and recognizing that I am because you are. Secondly, is doing no harm. Understanding the fact that safe spaces can also be compromised and not always be safe, and also that even something like a simple question can be harmful and triggering for individuals who have had to have had to survive cycles of violence. Lastly, in recognizing the power of intersectionality and ensuring that we're consistently questioning who's not in the room, who's not included, and more importantly, in the words of Nina Simone, how can we experience freedom? And freedom for her was having no fear. And so I would like to extend this message and call to action for individuals to exercise restraint and respect within the context of diversity, to do no harm, and ensure intersectionality, whether it's at a dinner table, in a classroom, or in a decision-making space. Thank you.